The Bible says a man of lawlessness, known as the Antichrist, will take power in the end times. He will force everyone in the world to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. And anyone who doesn't have that mark will be unable to buy or sell anything. For centuries, Christians have speculated about the mark of the beast, and while we don't know what form it will take, we can now see how such a system could operate. Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy, and that's our topic today, this rising mark of the beast system that we see coming into fruition in the world today. So we're going to talk about that, look at some articles on how that's coming into being today in our world for the first time. Any generation of Christians can say that. And so let's start by saying, what is the mark of the beast? Let's look at the Bible and see what it has to say. So we go to Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 and 17, and there we read, he, and the he here is the Antichrist, who we learned earlier in this chapter, rules the people of the world, every nation, language, tribe, and people. They all belong to the Antichrist. He rules them all. So it says, he required everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead, and no one could buy or sell anything without that mark, which was either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. So we're going to talk about that mark today, the right hand, the forehead, this linking to buying and selling things and being cut off from that system of buying and selling. So let's take a look at this article right here. This is from BBC News. It's titled, "The Microchip Implants That Let You Pay with Your Hand." So again, we see in the modern world today, we see these microchip implants in a hand that's linked to the payment process, just like we see in Revelation 13. So we see this first picture here shows a woman paying for a meal using a chip in her hand. And here we meet Patrick Paulman. This says, Patrick Paulman causes a stir whenever he pays for something in a shop or a restaurant. This is because the 37-year-old doesn't need to use a bank card or his mobile phone to pay. Instead, he simply places his left hand near the contactless card reader and the payment goes through. The reactions I get from cashiers are priceless, says Paulman. He is able to pay using his hand because back in 2019, he had a contactless payment microchip injected under his skin. So here we see somebody who is willing to inject this contactless payment chip into their hand for convenience so that they could go out somewhere. We see here that he gets a reaction from the cashier, so he likes that. So those are some of the reasons that people would go into doing this. We scroll down, we see that his hand lights up when it comes into close contact with a payment machine. So there's a lot in here about different things about the company that will provide this. It shows where that chip would be. And then we read, for many of us, the idea of having such a chip implanted in our body is an appalling one. But a 2021 survey of more than 4,000 people across the UK and the European Union found that 51% would consider it. So I don't know if this is a reliable survey or not, but we're going to take it at face value that a majority of people would consider this, would consider implanting chips into their bodies. Now, I think that it would be even higher given the right circumstances. Let's say that there was an emergency. The government declared emergency XYZ, and for the safety of the public, everyone was required to have this chip implanted. And without it, you can't go to a restaurant or a grocery store, your favorite coffee shop, maybe even go to work, right? We've seen something similar to this take place in the last couple of years. I think if under those circumstances, this number would probably be closer to 98%. I think that very few people would completely reject this idea if they were under pressure to accept it. I think only people for really religious reasons or philosophical reasons would reject this. So I think this is people are coming accustomed to this idea. So I don't know. What do you think? Leave your comments below. Would you implant one of these chips in your body? I would not. I'm not going to go there. But we read down further, and here we find, hopefully I'm pronouncing this woman's name right. It says Nada Kakabadze, professor of policy, governance, and ethics at Reading University's Henley Business School, is also cautious about the future of more advanced embedded chips. There is a dark side to the technology that has a potential for abuse, she says. To those with no love of individual freedom, it opens up seductive new vistas for control, manipulation, and oppression. And who owns the data? Who has access to the data? Is it ethical to chip people like we do pets? The result, she cautions, could be the disempowerment of many for the benefits of a few. Now think about that. We read in Revelation where one man is going to force the entire world to receive a mark without which they can't buy or sell. So that's the ultimate of the disempowerment of many for the benefits of a few. In the case here, it's the benefits of one. Although I'm sure the Antichrist will have an inner circle around him that benefits as well. But we're seeing this dark side here. So we scroll to the bottom, and here we have a picture of Mr. Paulman with magnets that he's also implanted into his fingers. I don't know why, other than because it's a cool parlor trick to have the screw attached to your finger, but he's done that. It says, back in the Netherlands, Mr. Paulman describes himself as a biohacker, someone who puts pieces of technology into his body to try to improve his performance. He has 32 implants in total, including chips to open doors and embedded magnets. Technology keeps evolving, so I keep collecting more, he says. My implants augment my body. I wouldn't want to live without them. So here we have an example of what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago in a video called Transhumanism and Bible Prophecy. So the transhumanist movement believes that we can continue to evolve and improve upon God's design by augmenting our bodies with advanced technology. And here's a case of this. We've seen this movement. We've seen what the people in that movement want to try to accomplish. And now we're seeing this embedding of chips and linking that with payments, just as Revelation 13 says. So again, this is very interesting. And this leads us into this next article here. It's from the New York Post. It says, Tesla owner will never lose his keys again after he implants them in his hand. We read down and we read, a Tesla fanatic will never lose his keys again after he spent $400 to have them permanently implanted in his hand. Tesla owner Brandon Delaley shared a video on social media this week showing him having a chip implanted in his right hand and then using the device to unlock his vehicle. Now I use that as my key when my Bluetooth key fails or I don't have my key card, he told Teslarati. You just use your hand. And then they have a tweet here, a snapshot of this where he said, finally I decided to take my phone key issues into my own hands. Literally, Tesla key chip implant. And if you want to go find this video, you can watch it. In it, he actually, you can see the chip being embedded. I don't want anybody to get queasy showing that, so we won't look at it here. Well, we read down and it says, the company that put this together literally has its own app store where you can wirelessly install apps into your body with these chips, he said. And one of the apps just happened to be a Tesla key card. So that was the first app I installed on it because I have a Tesla. So yet again, here we have apps that you can install to chips within your body. So more of these ideas of transhumanism, augmenting your body, it's found here again in this story. When we scroll down, we can see some more pictures of what's going on. And there we see him actually getting the chip implant. And down in the last paragraph it says, there's the religious people who have sent me a bunch of weird comments on Facebook about the mark of the beast on the video of my first chip installation, he added. There's something in the book of Revelation that talks about this mark in your hand or forehead that shows your allegiance to Satan or something like that. I just don't want to have to worry about forgetting my car keys. I'm not over here worshiping Satan. Now, while that's true, and I don't know what's in the heart of this guy that did this, this is setting the stage for the mark of the beast coming to fruition. So what's in the book of Revelation is going to come about as a direct result of people normalizing this type of behavior, getting accustomed to implanting into their bodies things that aren't replacements or repairs of God's design, but augmenting, adding additional functionality to God's original design. And so when we see people take this as normal, hey, just get this implant and then you don't have to worry about leaving your wallet behind, everybody's doing it, this is normal, then it creates this circumstance where when the Antichrist comes to power, people have either already adopted this type of technology or they are readily able to adopt it, and they're fenced into this system where they're not using cash, where the government can track everything, and where you really can't escape that system once they decide to cut you off. So this one to consider and keep our eye on. Here's another article. This one is from BBC as well. It says, getting under your skin, what embeddable technology could mean for the future of business. And it says, how many times have you locked your keys in your car or left your office swipe card at home? Well, for me, it's one and one. Once. How often have you been left shivering with embarrassment after completing your grocery shopping, only to realize you've left your wallet or purse at home? Never. And if I did, I wouldn't be shivering with embarrassment over it. I'd just get in the car, go home, get my wallet, and come back. Wouldn't be the end of the world. We all go through the regular ritual of checking our pockets and bags to make sure we had the keys and cards we need to access our homes, workplaces, and bank accounts. But what if we could remove the need to carry around all of those keys, cards, and other access and identification technology forever? Hey, wow, it's so convenient. All you have to do is embed it into your body. No thanks. It's not that inconvenient to carry around a wallet or an ID, some cards. It's really not. So, but that's what they're trying to pitch this as, is don't you want this? Don't you really want this? They really seem to be pushing this here. And it says that future is now a reality for a very small percentage of the population who have embraced so-called embeddable technology. Embeddables, now more commonly referred to as insertables, refers to tiny radio frequency identification implants placed under the skin that can be activated and scanned by RFID readers. These tiny cylindrical chips encased in protective glass are about the size of a rice grain and can be inserted under the skin using a syringe, normally between the thumb and forefinger of a person's hand. The technology involved is similar to the ID chips we place under the skin of cats and dogs, but the growing use of embeddables in people is already having profound effects, particularly in the business world. So we're going to take something that we use to keep track of animals and let's apply it to people. And we'll call those people embedded employees. So there's a new catchphrase that we're going to see being used probably in the future, is embedded employees. Are you an embedded employee? It says, in the same way your card or your phone can swipe you into a building or pay for your groceries, insertable RFID chips now mean you can do the exact same thing with a simple swipe of your hand. The first wave of this technology has already been used to design smarter, more secure office buildings. And it talks about this office of 700 workers in Stockholm, Sweden that did this to help gain entry to the office, operate the photocopier, and even buy lunch. It says users can personalize the information stored on their chip, which can also be programmed to interact with apps on their smartphone. Great, why would you want to do all of this? There's not a big enough why here that I understand any of this. And it goes on to say, that's hard to believe, but true, and only the beginning of the possible applications of embeddable technology we might be faced with, according to this futurist. Now, of course, yes, it is only the beginning, because they're going to try to turn every employee into an embedded employee, just like a cat or a dog. And so just like cats and dogs, well, you offer a cat or a dog a treat, you can get them to do what you want. They do something you don't want, well, and you can do something to penalize the cat or the dog. And so you change the incentive structure, and you can get the cat or the dog to do whatever you want. And so these embedded employees are going to be like the cats and dogs. Once they're chipped, they'll be able to simply change the incentive structure. And that's what we're going to see from society. That's what we're going to see from this merger of corporate government power, is they're going to be able to simply change the incentive structure. You'll get a reward if you do what we want you to do. But if you don't, well, we're going to make it very difficult for you. Maybe we'll cut off your ability to buy and sell. We've seen some of that in recent times. So leading into that, we have this article from Yahoo News. It says Amazon expands palm scanning payment tech to 65 more Whole Foods locations. This says Amazon's One Palm Scanner payment technology will be launching at over 65 Whole Foods stores in California. This is the biggest rollout to date, with stores in Malibu, Montana Avenue, Santa Monica, Los Angeles, Orange County, Sacramento, the San Francisco Bay Area, and Santa Cruz receiving the technology that aims to modernize retail shopping. So again, here we have, you pay with your palm. Just show us your palm, we'll scan it. We won't do anything nefarious with it, right? You can trust us. But we've seen already, we went over in a previous video where Ring, which is a subsidiary of Amazon, is feeding their information to law enforcement. So you're seeing a merger of corporate and government power, and there's a definition for that, of what that means when you see this merger of the police power of the state and the authority of the state with corporate power. And they're going to be able to change the incentive structure based on having fenced us into this arrangement where we have a cashless payment system. It's electronic. If you want to participate, perhaps you have to have one of these embeddables, they're going to call them, right? And so we know that ultimately that's where the world is headed. Revelation 13 tells us that. But we already see some of these incentive structures rolling out into the world. We have the Chinese social credit score, right? Where the Chinese Communist Party has decided that you earn certain points if you do the things they like. And so it's like your credit card score in the United States. It can go up if you do the things that they like, and it can go down if you do the things that they don't like. And so it incentivizes people to do the bidding of the authorities of the government, and people who don't will be penalized, made to suffer, ultimately shut out of society, if not outright imprisoned. That's where all of this is going. There was a recent article I read about a bank in Australia that has said that they will no longer give car loans to people who want to buy cars with internal combustion engines. Only electric vehicles going forward will they give loans for. So because A, you're not doing what they want you to do, which is buy the electric car, so you'll be penalized for that. And so we're seeing these incentive structures change, the pressure being put on corporations to conform with this, and this is where it's going. We saw in Canada with the Canadian trucker protest, and what happened as a result. These were peaceful protests, and what happened? Their bank accounts were shut down. They were cut off from being able to access their funds. They were not able to buy and sell. So what happens when there is no payment system outside of that system? Once we get to that point where everybody values convenience over privacy, and cash goes away, and physical transactions like that go away, and everything's electronic. They're going to move to some sort of system like this, and ultimately, the book of Revelation tells us that's going to be a mark on your right hand or on your forehead, and you won't be able to buy or sell anything without it. So guys, all this stuff, it just serves to set the stage for that moment for the Antichrist to come to power sometime in the near future and implement this system. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. But I think this is just another sign of the times, a sign that the season we're living in right now is the season of the Lord's return. Jesus Christ is coming back soon, guys, because this Mark of the Beast technology is something that takes place during the 7-year tribulation just before the second coming. That means that the rapture is near. Jesus is coming back soon. So make sure to like this, share this, and God willing, we'll talk again tomorrow. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.